So example 2 is solve cosine 3x equals negative 2/7. So my solution, I draw the CS plane and I figure out cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and since that number is negative 2/7, the adjacent side must be negative, and that means that my triangles must be in quadrant 2 or 3 as shown in this illustration. Draw these pictures when you do this, otherwise you're liable to get lost. And notice I have a theta 1 going to the 1 in the second quadrant, and theta 2 going to the 1 in the quadrant 3, and those are actually opposites of each other. Notice that the theta 1 is in the range of the inverse cosine function, which is the upper half plane. So if I did the arc cosine, I would get theta 1, not theta 2. And then theta 2 is just the opposite of the arc cosine of negative 2 pi over 7. Because cosine is even, so that's why that works that way. In general, theta equals, just putting those together and adding on the period, or multiples of the period, I get theta equals plus or minus cosine inverse of negative 2/7 plus 2 pi k, where k is any integer. So that's all of the solutions as far as theta goes, but it didn't ask me for theta, it asked me for x right here. So this 3x is theta, so I just have to replace the theta with 3x and then solve for x. So I get 3x equals plus or minus cosine inverse of negative 2/7 plus 2 pi k with k in the integers, divide everything by 3. X equals plus or minus 1/3 cosine inverse of negative 2/7 plus 2 pi over 3k. Notice I divided all the terms by 3. And people mess this up. They don't divide this 2 pi k by 3. I don't know why, but you're supposed to divide that by 3. The period changes when you multiply your variable here by a number. Remember periodic motion? Simple periodic motion changes the frequency, changes the period. Okay. So to check this, I took the cosine inverse of negative 2 pi over 3 divided by 3, and I stored that in A. That's the principal version of this thing, of one of these, the plus one. So in other words, the part without this part. And I stored it in A. And then I'm plugging it in here. So I get cosine of 3a, and I got approximately negative 2.86. And then I took negative 2/7, and I got the same thing. So that checked out. Now if you do the negative one, it'll work out the same because cosine is even. But if you want to check your 2 pi k over here, you can just plug in this thing plus 2 pi over 3 when k is 1, and see if that works as well. And then you'll know that you got this part here right. So I just made that note. So now check 1/3 cosine inverse of negative 2/7 plus 2 pi 3 in your calculator. Check it into this equation. And just put that in the memory A, or whatever memory you want to use, and then just type it out. When you get to x here, just type that letter. Okay, and you should get -2/7.